Good evening, everyone. I'm glad you joined us tonight. It's going to be a great call. I have Tiffany Tregoning with me tonight, and this is all where real women share real stories, real growth, real impact, and behind every strong leader is a story of resilience, growth, and becoming. And I just wanted to tell you a little bit about Tiffany as everyone trickles in a little bit. So she's been 11 years in the MLM space and a little over 2.5 years here at Pharmacy. She is a golden director in the TS Movement Group. And I'm excited to host her on an interview tonight. And Tiffany, if you just want to tell us a little bit more, I know you have a son. I do know that, and you're married. If you want to go ahead and expound and let us know a little bit more about you before we step into the questions.
Of course. Thank you, Clara. So, hello, guys. My name is Tiffany. I am 38 years old. I live in the amazing state of West Virginia. I was born and raised in Maryland, actually, and that's where I spent most of my life. And then me and my husband decided to make a change. So we came to West Virginia. We're about to celebrate, I think, like 13 years together. Um, and I have a 4-year-old son who keeps me on my toes. And we decided to have kids a little bit later in life. And it's exhausting at times, but it's the best thing in the world. So, yeah.
And that's a good question because I know a lot of them have babies at home. So they're probably going to want to hear how you manage everything at home and still have a successful career here at
Yes.
Pharmacy. Okay, let's go into the questions then. Okay, question number one. Tiffany, what was the defining moment where you realized you were no longer just participating, but truly stepping into leadership and legacy here at Pharmacy?
So, I mean, even going back to when I started MLM, I started, like Clara said, about 11 years ago. And I'm going to be honest with you. My biggest thing is when I realized that I could help other people and they could experience what I have within this industry. Now, here's the thing for anybody that doesn't actually know my story, when I came into my very first company previously, I didn't come with super high expectations. I started with the idea of I want to make $100 a month. I wasn't sure that this sisterhood was real. I didn't think that it would, grow my confidence. I had very, very low confidence in myself. I had a lot of things that happened in my life that kind of diminished how I felt about myself. I had no self-worth. I honestly wanted to come in and just make $100. So the reason why I tell you this is I came in with no expectation. I didn't put any pressure on myself. I didn't, set these huge goals. I just came in and said, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to figure it out and I'm just going to work hard. And I'm not saying that obviously you shouldn't set goals and have something to push for, but I also didn't come into the industry comparing to other people. I didn't look at anybody and say, okay, well, she's growing her business this quick. I need to catch up. I need to do this. I didn't have that pressure, right? So I came in with this is what I want to do. This is what I want to make. Let's see how it goes. I showed up to every single training. I showed up to every single call. Previous 11 years ago, we didn't have Zoom. We used to literally dial in on a phone number and listen to calls. I showed up to every single one. I was at every event I could get to. I was at every single training. I wouldn't miss a convention. I just put myself in those places to learn and be around successful people to kind of figure out where is this really going to take me? So I grew to the equivalent to director here at Pharmacy. I grew to that rank in my last company about 8 months in, which at the time was really good for a lot of people that were coming into that company. So when I kind of got to that point, I mean, like, let's be honest with you, that paycheck that hit was a lot more than $100. So I kind of saw that this was giving me something that I didn't imagine, you know? I originally told my sponsor in the beginning, I don't want to recruit people. I don't know how to lead. And then I just realized that everything was a teachable moment, you know, like I could get better, I could learn, I could fail at times. I didn't know what I was doing at times, but I could figure that out. And then honestly, once I started to get around that director rank, so probably about 8 months in, is I had a team about maybe 30, 35 people. We hit that director rank, which was huge for me. And I realized I can help other people experience this. You know, it's not just about me anymore, and it's not just about my personal goals. It's allowing people to come in and honestly see the confidence that you can grow in yourself, see the community that you can be a part of, and really see what this industry can give you. You know, at the time I was working a full-time job, I wasn't looking to quit corporate America. I thought that that's what I was going to do. So I feel like that was really my defining moment of just, you know, building that community on my own. You know, I had an upline, I had a team that I was a part of, but starting to build that myself and have people that I could connect to and honestly help and lead along the way. That was my big moment.
I love that. And something that really stuck with me is you said you were at every meeting, every call, every event you could get to, convention. All of these, I think, are very key indicators on growth. And you talk about the Zooms, about dial-up Zooms. Back at my last company, when you said that, I thought we had a Zoom once a month, and that was our training Zoom. Here, it's the exact opposite. We have so many people pouring into everyone. So thank you for talking about that because that is certainly true. And I think that really states who you are, how far you've come. Also, Golden Director, didn't you get to go to Turkey?
I did. I did.
Can you
I'm
tell us a
telling,
little more?
yeah, I'm telling you guys, if that is not on your vision board and your bucket list, you've got to make it happen. I came to pharmacy a little backstory. We hit director in 8 days. We hit bronze in 2 weeks, and then we hit golden our first full month. So I earned that golden trip pretty quickly in my first year. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I sat it out the first year. I sat it out and I was like, I just want a little time to plan and like see how it goes. And I saw our first group from our team go. And I regretted every minute of it. I was like, I can't wait to be there. So I just attended last year and it was life-changing. I'm gonna be honest with you, Turkey is not a place that was like a bucket list for me. If somebody asked me my bucket list places to go, but the only word that I can like describe that trip is just magical. Like absolutely magical. I remember when I first started pharmacy, I was at a dinner with Amber and a couple other leaders, and we were sitting there talking to Emre, and he was talking about this golden trip and how you get in a hot air balloon. And I was like, no, there's no way I'm going to do something like that. And he started showing me pictures, and I said, okay, you know, like a once in a lifetime thing. And then he mentioned that it was the golden trip. And I remember coming home and like really deep diving the comp plan and looking where golden was, and I could not fathom that a company sends people at golden rank on a trip like that. Like I spent an entire week in Turkey and got to see two parts of Turkey and all of the experiences that go along with it. It's magical and it'll make you fall in love with the company even more, understand the company more. Of course, get to see a new culture and all the experiences you get. Put it on your vision board right now. Get to Turkey.
Yeah, that sounds wonderful. The way you described it, did you ride in the hot air balloon?
I did. And you know what's funny is they broke you up in groups, but then also by country. So like I was there with a couple of UK people. They went in a different balloon. And then it was me and Chloe, and they kicked Chloe out because she was pregnant. I went all by myself in a hot air balloon with no friends. There was
Oh
other people
my.
there and they were very sweet and they kind of took me under their wing, but I was very nervous to do it, but then I was like, I'll do it if Chloe does it, you know, but nope, I was all by myself and I accomplished it and it was like right when it lifted off the ground, it's just peaceful. I don't know how to explain. It's so peaceful, and then it's an amazing experience.
Wow, yeah, I wanted to hear of that experience. So you ended up going alone without your group.
I did. I went all by myself.
Wow. Okay, thank you. Question number two, when the pressure, setbacks, and self-doubt showed up, what mindset shifts helped you keep going when most people would have quit?
A couple things. So, number one, personal development. My old sponsor in my last company used to talk about personal development on the daily. She talked about it constantly. And I'm going to be honest with you, I laughed about it at times. I said, there is no way that I'm going to listen to this motivational speech. And, like I'm not a big reader, I have to listen to it. So I would get on YouTube and I would listen to things. And I just didn't honestly believe that it made a huge difference. And I'm telling you, it is a game changer. When I'm not feeling 100%, just listening to somebody I like the tough ones. I'm like a Gary V, Tony Robbins. Like I need somebody to like demand, like fix your life. So finding really who you connect with and who really speaks to you. But personal development is going to be a huge thing when you're not, like feeling your best. Number two is just go find joy in whatever that means to you. And I think that this is really important that yes, this is a business, but there's going to be times that we're going to feel overwhelmed. We're going to get upset about not hitting a rank. Things are going to get frustrating. We're going to see content not do as well as we really thought it was, right? So I want you guys to find joy in something. If that's go get a massage and have a spa day. I remember I was so stressed out at one point. My mom booked me a massage and was like, tomorrow, here's your date, go. Like you need to go do something for yourself. And I think that that's really important to just put ourselves first at that point. And whatever that looks like, take a day off, go schedule a couple posts so that you're not MIA on your social media, but take the day off and go do something for yourself. I thrive in the sun. I'm a summer girl, okay? So when I'm not feeling the best, I just want to go sit in the sun. And that just like it just revives me. Now on the East Coast right now, we're seeing like day 10 of rain. So I'm not thriving like I should, but those are the types of things like find what's really, really going to make a difference in you and just find that joy again and just kind of get through that. The next thing is I have some notes in here so I don't forget what I'm trying to
Yeah,
say.
perfect.
Um, I think the one big thing that I want you guys to remember is that you're not alone. And I think that that's super, super important to remind every single person. Social media is a highlight reel of majority of people's lives. Okay. So when we have those favorite creators and we love to watch their content, majority of the time they're putting out the best sides of their life, right? So there's times that we're not finding that success or we failed at something or we're not feeling the best. We're hard on ourselves. And we look at all of these people and we're like, why can't we be like them? Why can't we be perfect? Why can't my house be that clean? Like I'm overwhelmed. But remember that you're only seeing a part of that, right? So you're not alone. There's plenty of people that haven't hit ranks when they've wanted to. They haven't hit goals. I've been there. All of us have been there. So you're not alone in it. So make sure that you're not focused on comparing to what you see on social media. Um, on top of that, too, one big thing is like, especially in this day and age in social media, it's changed so much that there's so much of the highlight reels and there's so much AI and all of this stuff, right? People are looking for raw, real, relatable content. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with sharing those struggles sometimes, right? And being honest with your network about how you're feeling. Now, I'm not saying to, every single day talk about the negative, right? But there's times that I'll get my story and I'm like, I wanted to go live today, but I'm having a mom day, like I'm so overwhelmed, I'm frustrated. Today is just that type of day. So here I am on my couch, I'm working on my computer a little bit behind the scenes. Like I'll share those things because other moms relate. Everybody's going to relate to that type of content. So I think it's okay to sometimes share those struggles. I missed the Mexico trip. It's the first incentive trip I have ever missed in my 11 years. And the first thing I did is I went and made a post. I didn't, yell about it and cried to myself. I went and made a post and I was like, raw and real, guys, I missed my first trip in 11 years. And as much as I'm disappointed, this is not going to change my business. But I'm excited for the people that earned it. And the next one, I will push even harder. I shared that, and that's okay to do that. Okay. And then my last little tip for you. I have a 5 minute rule. Some of my team, I think, has heard me talk about this, but I have a 5 minute rule. Okay. Something goes wrong in my day, or something happens, or someone's mean to me, whatever the case may be, right? And I'm frustrated, or I'm overwhelmed, or I'm upset. I give myself 5 minutes. I scream, I cry, I take 5 minutes, I do whatever I need to do in those 5 minutes, and then I pick myself up and I get back to work. So there's times that that happens. If you have a friend to call, I'm sure Amber already knows, right? I'll call Amber and be like, let me vent for 5 minutes. I just need to yell and scream, and then I'm going to be over this, and you'll never hear me talk about it again. I've done this to Crystal. I've done this to a few people. And sometimes we just need that 5 minutes. Just get it out. And then I turn around and I get back to work.
I love that. You're talking about being your true self, authentic, showing up, and you mentioned about content. And that is so true. I want to share something. I'm not the one being interviewed, but when you said, show your real life, show your struggles, not just the glamour reels or when everything is going good. I had a defining moment on a reel on Instagram the other day. I just had to share off of what you said. Um, it was Memorial Day. I was going down to the Veterans Memorial Park to place flowers for my parents, and I got real melancholy on the way there, and I had sunglasses on, and my eyes were tearing up, and I decided to screen record that. I didn't say anything on this reel. I just screen recorded me just driving. My husband's driving, screen recorded. Do you know that reel, that, and all I put, I had FYP, mood, and one other word, I forget, just three. That thing has gone viral. I am up to almost 25,000 views. I've
It's
never,
always the ones you don't expect.
yeah.
That's
And
literally how it works.
it threw me off. I'm like, I'm not gonna lie. I said, why am I getting that many views? And it still keeps going up. And this was on Saturday. So it is so true. It was a vulnerable moment for me. I put mood on there because I was really melancholy that day. So yeah,
Yeah,
things,
people want to see the relatable things, they don't want to see the perfect all the time, because then they compare themselves and they look at their life and what they're going through. They really, really want to see that relatable. Something when I mentioned in the beginning of this about just like confidence in general and my self-worth, I've been an open book about that for my entire life. And I've always talked about that on my social media. And there's so many women that have come to me to be like, you helped me. Like I relate to that so much. I relate to that struggle. I relate to, fighting through that. I just shared something the other day that was like, as confident as I may seem, I have my bad days. Like I stopped taking selfies. I don't know why, but I realized in my camera roll, I don't have pictures of myself, So I realized why I was doing that, because I wasn't feeling the best confident. And I share that with people because they can relate to it.
yeah. I mean, thank you for that. I think the audience needed to hear that, and it's so true. Thank you. Okay, question number three. What is one hard truth about success and leadership that most people avoid talking about, but every growing leader needs to understand?
I have two.
Okay.
Um, okay, so leadership is literally one of my favorite things to talk about in general. The one thing that I want to tell you guys when it comes to leadership is not something that majority of people just like have, right? It's something that is taught. It's something that's learned. Over time, you figure out your leadership style. It might be completely different than other people, but you're going to learn that as you go. And there's going to be times that you feel like you fail as a leader. There's going to be times that you're thriving and doing great. And I'm always learning. And that's something that I'm always open with my team. I'm like, I don't know everything. I'm learning as I go. But my big thing that I wish somebody probably would have told me in the very beginning, number one, your team is a revolving circle constantly, right? The people that get you to a certain rank, majority of the time are not going to be the people that are going to be around for the next rank. The I'm sure you guys have probably heard about like the leaky bucket, right? So if you have a bucket and it's got a little hole in it and you fill it up with water, over time, that water is going to continue to trickle out of that bucket. And if you're not constantly feeding into it, that water is going to run dry. And that is exactly what it's like about building in this industry. If you're not constantly bringing in new people, you're going to see your business fall backwards. So those people, you think like someone like me, I'm like, I've been doing this for 11 years. The next person that I sponsor, she's going to be around forever. She's going to be my ride or die. Chances are that's not going to happen with majority of people. Okay. Now, I've got some OGs on my team that have been around for a very, very long time. I have been a part of Amber's downline for 11 years. She's not getting rid of me. It's that can still happen, right? And you're going to find those people, but you have to be constantly looking for new people. I think that there's a misconception that you start to build a business and then you can kind of sit back and it's just going to keep building. And that's not the case. So we have to remember that people are going to leave. Um, they don't owe you anything. And I think that that's important to know too. When you bring somebody into the business, they don't owe you anything, right? You offer them an opportunity. It's up to them to figure out if they want it, if they want to continue to work. But there's going to be people that are going to thrive for years and then their life is going to change and they may leave. Or you're going to have somebody come in and work for a couple weeks and then they might leave. But then you'll find your people that are going to stick around. But majority of the times, most of those people are going to change over time. So we have to continue to look for new people and to build and keep filling that bucket as you go, right? So growth never stops in this industry. I think that sometimes our business can look a little bit different. Like if you ask me if my business is the same as it was when I first started 11 years ago, probably not. I've kind of figured out a schedule. I've learned to balance things a little bit better. I know it works, but that doesn't mean that I've ever stopped trying to bring in new and continue to build. Okay. Number two is a very, very important one that I had to learn hard lessons over the times, and that is boundaries. And I think that this is really important to talk about. Okay. So when we're talking about boundaries, I want you to think about a couple of things. Number one, business relationships. Okay. Now, I love an industry like this. I love the community. I love the people that I get to work with and that I get to be around. That doesn't mean that every single person access to my personal side, right? So there are certain people in this business that it's a business relationship, right? And I think sometimes we get caught up in that community that we kind of forget that this is a business, right? So I don't allow people to disrupt my positive side. I don't want people to disrupt my peace. People are always going to say, like, when you come into an industry like this, you're going to bring in people that are your people, that attract to you for certain reasons. And I'm here to tell you that's the case majority of the time. But sometimes you're going to bring in people that maybe you clash with, that maybe bring negativity into your life, and you don't have to deal with that, right? So strict on business relationships for certain people. Now, are there certain people in this team that I love and that I have a closer relationship with? Absolutely. But I think that it's important to kind of make sure that we draw that line, not allow people to call us at 1 o'clock in the morning and, always beg for that time all the time, right? So, on top of that, the number two is business hours. Okay. And this is something that I had to learn too, because I would take that phone call at 1 o'clock in the morning. I would feel like I would have to answer a message right away. I felt like I had to answer my customer messages right away because if I didn't, they would go to somebody else and go ask the question and go order from them. All of these things all the time that I realized even though I have a great husband who's super supportive and never complained about me being on my phone, it was something that I started to be self-aware about, that I was on my phone constantly because I felt like I couldn't miss anything. I had to be there. I had to answer messages. And I learned over time, business hours are the best thing that I've ever done, and I've kind of set those times within the week. My team, majority of the time, knows like if it's the hours between like 12 and 3, that's my time to work. Like my personal to business is a part of this too. I have my team, but I also have personal to business. I still am trying to grow. I still got to make content. So those are times that maybe I'm a little bit slower to answer messages or calls or things like that. Friday nights for the past, I don't know, 8 years. This is going back into my previous company, have been time with my husband. My husband is a mechanic. He works on the road. He is never home. So Friday nights, if he's home at a decent time, my phone is down, and that is my time with him. Even if we have a 4-year-old, we're not going out, we're watching a movie at home, things like that. So that's my time with him. On the weekends, I really do put focus into my family and things like that. So I've learned to balance that the best that I can, to just make sure that you don't want this industry to ruin any kind of other relationships in your life. You want to put your marriage first. You want to put your kids first, your family, things like this, because this is something that you can build a legacy that's going to give your family so much, but you can't lose that in the process, right? Okay. And then the last thing, decide what your community is going to look like. And I'm huge with this, right? What do you want from your team? I might be a little bit different. Some people don't like that I say this. My team respects it. Our chat, we don't allow personal stuff. And the only reason why I don't do that is because over times I felt like our work chat was getting filled with like, hey, look at this cute picture of my dog today, or look what I had for breakfast. And it was a lot of like personal stuff, to the point that I had people say, I can't find valid information. I missed that announcement that you put in the chat, or I muted it, or I had to leave it, things like that. So we keep our chat very business. Now, if someone pops in there really quick and was like, hey, I've had a crazy day, or, like something, is fine, right? But we try to keep it as business as possible so that everybody feels welcome in there to ask questions. They don't miss things, stuff like that. I also remind my team that resources that I offer are not something that I have to do. And it's a bonus being on my team, right? So there's times that if I feel disrespected, or I feel like someone's bringing massive negativity to my team, they're out. And I know that's harsh to say, but that's something that I had to learn a long time ago. And that goes back to that business relationships with people and things like that, and just making sure that that community is not going to get disrupted, because it could take only one person to be able to do that. So I just learned I will tell people like, hey, this is not the time and the place to put negativity, things like that. I give them chances, but at times that I will take people out of my team page. Like I am okay with that if it comes down to it.
Wow, those were just some good tidbits. I hope you guys are all taking notes.
That was a lot. I'm sorry.
No, no, no. It was all very relevant, good information, things that don't get talked about a lot. So this is really key. Thank you. All right. And let me see. Number 4. I was like, what question are we on? I got lost. I was
I've been
really,
talking so much. I'm sorry.
no, no, I was really into this. Okay, number 4, beyond the rank, Tiffany, recognition and results. What impact do you hope your story leaves on women watching you rise?
I want to be known to other women, other mothers, that life at times can be imperfect. It can be messy. It can be chaotic, all of those things in between. But as a woman, as a mother, we don't have to decide whether success is our number one or our family. I am proving to people that you're capable of having success while being a mother, and being able to balance that the best as possible, and not having to pick one or the other. And through all of that mess and life in general and all of that chaos. I want other women to just feel seen. I want them to feel valued. I want them to feel inspired by, what I share, that it's okay to put yourself first at times. It's okay to fill your own cup. It's okay to do things that make you feel good about yourself, whether that's putting on a full face of makeup just to sit home and do laundry and things like that, but really just kind of inspiring other women to put themselves first always. And don't feel like you have to pick and choose. You can have success, you can do something that's your own, you can feel valued by doing that. And just inspiring people by my content, that it's real and authentic and raw.
That's great. Thank you. So that's all of the questions. Some great nuggets she threw out there. We're going to do a quick little speed round, but I do have another question for you before we do the speed round.
Okay.
What goals do you have in place for the remainder of 2026?
Ooh, that's a good one. I'm going to be honest with you. I am big into different seasons bring different things. I'm in a season in my business right now that it's not so much of a personal goal. It's more of who can I help? This is my season of what can I do to pour into the women that have chose me as a leader? How can I help them get to the next step? Because I've always lived by the idea, this is something that Amber's been preaching for a really long time, is that, your paycheck and your success in this industry is really built by how many people that you help. And that's what it comes down to it. I would love I would love to see a new rank. Of course, that's what we're pushing for all the time. But by helping those people on my team get to their next rank, then everything is ultimately going to fall in place. So
Mhm.
honestly, this year I don't have anything like specifically set. We'll just see how things go and see how well my girls grow. And when it's our time, it's our time.
Oh, thank you. I love that. Okay, let's do some speed round. In one word, what season are you in right now? You kind of spoke to that a little bit.
Personally, though, peace. I think I would say peace.
And I think that comes with years of experience too, and
Mhm.
everything that you have grown as a leader through the years. You're at that spot now.
Absolutely. And there's, and a lot of personal life in general and things like that, and just being in a better place right now, just even with personal life and business and things, I feel at peace, and I know what my direction is, and I know where I stand at this point, and I know the good people that I have in my life and things like that. So I think that's my word.
Perfect. Salty or sweet?
Oh, sweet.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Me too. What's your business non-negotiable in leadership?
Ooh. Business negotiable and leadership, to be present. I think that that's one of the biggest things. It's like you don't have to know every single answer. You don't have to know everything about everything, but you have to be present. You offer an opportunity to people and you bring them in. You have to be there and you have to be able to just cheer them on. It's not about doing the business for them, things like that, but it's just being there, being present, being able to answer the questions, do the thing for leaders. Too many people in this industry don't have that and have never felt what it's felt, to have really good leadership. I think that's the biggest thing. Not perfection, just present.
Love it. And this kind of ties into the next one too. What piece of advice would you give the woman out there who's scared to start, but has to have everything perfect before she begins?
Mhm. You got to do it messy at times. You know, Perfection is not something that people want to see in general, but everything is a learning. process, right? Everything that we do, and this business is no different than anything, right? Um, this is gonna sound silly, but like you're a little kid and you want to learn how to ride a bike. Majority of the time, you're gonna fall off that bike a couple times, right? You're gonna skin your knee, all the things, but you keep getting back on, you keep doing it. It's no different, right? We're learning as we go. We get better as we go. At some point, we're flying around the neighborhood on our bike and we're set. This is no difference. And then people don't want to see perfect because they don't think that that's them, and they don't feel like that's relatable to them. So you show up, you figure it out. It's messy at times, you get better and better, and that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think in this industry, a lot of times you see people quit before they reach their full potential because, you know,
Absolutely.
they post or go live for 4 or 5 days and they're done. They're like, no, it ain't working for me. So that is so true. You got to just stay in it, be consistent. And if you're in it long
I think
enough,
also too,
uh-huh.
for anybody that's kind of new to leadership, I think it's important to, um, set expectations with people. And this is what I talked about in the very beginning is like when I came in, I don't really have expectations. And I think that that was something that benefited me. I didn't get to the point that I was like, oh, this is not working. It's not working out for me. I'm just going to walk away. I'm not good at this. I didn't come with those expectations. And sometimes we get caught up in either our personal success or success of others that we're like, yes, girl, you can do this. And, you'll be director in your first month. I know you can do that. And I know that we do that at a place of, like in our heart, we love people and we want to push them and we know that they have that in them. But sometimes we have to kind of, drop those expectations of, look, I tell people, if you're going to go all in on this, give it at least 6 months. I hope you give it a year, but at least 6 months to see what could happen. The least that's going to happen is you'll probably grow your confidence. You'll get better at applying makeup. You'll have this community, but imagine where your life could be in 6 months, 12 months, and give it that time to really, really see.
Perfect. Goodness, everything just tied together wonderfully. I hope you all took notes. Before we end, I would like to give a millionaire mindset moment, which I do at the end of every call. Stop waiting to feel ready. Most people stay stuck because they overthink, they hesitate, and doubt themselves into inaction, where wealthy women move before everything is perfect. They understand that clarity comes from movement, not waiting. Our next level requires discipline over excuses, vision over fear, and consistency over mood. Two women building legacy aren't lucky, or should I say, the women. They decide they were no longer available for playing small. So, again, thank you so much for being my guest tonight. I love this interview. I thought you answered these really well, and I'm sure you helped so many out there. Guys, stay tuned for next week. We're going to have another leader in the millionaire mindset, which I'm so excited about this too. She's going to share her moments on how she ended up where she is and the things she's gone through as well. Thank you so much. And thank you, Amber, for hosting us tonight. I know she's in Miami somewhere.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Bye.